Hey, what's going on, my beautiful people? Another great day here inside the Black Actor Studio. I'm your host, Danny Royce, and joining me today is a two-time Emmy Award-winning actor. You know him very well from CBS's network court drama, Judge Judy, as the bailiff. Don't move a muscle.
You're tuned into Black Hollywood Live, the world's first digital broadcast network devoted entirely to urban entertainment and pop culture. Tune in right now.
Petri, this. We're already having a good time here. What's up, folks? Welcome inside the Black Actor Studio. Performing in numerous motion pictures and television shows over the course of his illustrious career, Petri is a well-known talent through Hollywood and the world. You've seen him on Everybody Hates Chris, The Parkers, Nash Bridges. Everyone, please welcome. I'm very proud to welcome to Inside the Black Actor Studio, Petri Hawkins-Byrd. How you doing?
Man, I'm so pleased that you said my name correctly. It's like I've been in front of 5,000 people and had people go, ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for Petri Hawkins-Byrd. Or they get it in the wrong direction. They go, Petri Bird Hawkins. I'm like, oh, God,
That's crazy. Well, you go as Bird now.
There you go. Like
it's
Cher,
easy. Right? Like Cher. One name. Petri.
Right.
Is it an Italian root or
actually
Latin?
Yeah, it's Latin.
Yeah.
Latin root. It's Latin for Peter, which is the rock.
Right, the rock.
And so
nice.
My father, I don't know what he was thinking back then, but hey. God bless him. He had vision.
Right. Speaking of the rock, now you've been a solid rock on Judge Judy for 23 years now.
3 years, man.
Man, like I don't.
Ever since you were like 3.
Right.
you probably never known a world without us, right?
Right. No, I've seen many episodes of Judge Judy, and oh my God, the world has. So, tell me what it's like. First, being on a show or working with a team for 23 years. It's crazy.
It's like wow. It's like family.
Yeah.
You see people. I've watched their kids grow up. Little kids that used to come and hang out in my dressing room. Because I'm the goofy sort. People don't know that.
Right.
But I have 4 kids, and so I was always used to watching my kids, and so whenever people would bring their kids to the set, the kids would hang out with me, and now I see them and they're in college,
wow.
or they have children of their own, and I'm like, wow, you're getting old, because it can't be me.
It can't be you, right?
I look the same, don't I?
Hey, but don't crack, right? Well, we'll get back into Judge Judy in just a little bit, but I like to start off in the beginning. Where were you born?
Born and raised in Brooklyn, New York.
Nice.
Crown Heights section of Brooklyn.
Brooklyn. That's tough. And so what was your father's profession?
Wow. Okay. So my father was a drug dealer.
Oh, okay.
And that's pretty much what he did.
Wow.
The entire time I was coming up.
Okay. And so what was your relationship with your mom like?
My relationship with my mom was great. My mother was a fantastic person, just like awesomely wise, not afraid of anything. She was always an inspiration to me. And she was the one, despite the fact that she only had a 10th grade education, she produced 4 college educated people.
Nice.
I just lost her last year.
Oh.
But I can't say enough about her. She was fantastic. She was the backbone, and while my father was out doing his thing, my mother was at home with us, taking care of business and making sure that we went to school and were clean, and that we were human beings, and we treated people like we wanted to be treated. So,
right.
she's a saint.
I'm sorry to hear about your loss.
Yeah.
And so, what was the dynamic like in the house? Because I'm assuming you didn't know what your father was doing at that time, right?
It's funny. When I was a little kid, I just knew that my father was home most of the time. I was like, does he ever go to work? And then at night, he'd be out, and that would be it. But I spent a lot of time watching TV. I don't know whether it was an escape mechanism for me, but I enjoyed watching all types of television shows. The Ed Sullivan Show. I remember seeing the Beatles the first time they came to America and was on the Ed Sullivan Show.
Wow.
I remember my first time seeing James Brown and Marvin Gaye and Tammy Terrell and all the Motown acts. I loved watching movies. I dug old movies. I had my mother's sister, my Aunt Pat, is 7 years older than I am.
Okay. And
so when she was a teenager, she would take me with her friends to the movies, to the Saturday matinee. And so I was, this 9-year-old just kind of hanging out with my aunt and her cronies, and Saturday afternoons were my favorite time because we would just go to the movies and sit in there. And this was back before multiplexes, so you had this one huge screen, and so a nose hair was like 10 feet tall, But I remember, I don't mean to digress, but I remember the first time seeing the 10 Commandments, the 10 Commandments that everybody sees. Every the one that you see every Easter and stuff.
Right.
I have no explanation for why the 10 Commandments comes on during Easter. But we saw the parting of the Red Sea, and back then, that was phenomenal, because you have this CGI now that can make you believe that you're in there. You're sitting in the theater, you can't even breathe because the water is so real. But back then, it was amazing to us. Wow. And I remember sitting there watching that and going, man, I would love to do anything in that movie. Wow. I'd play a slave. You're Moses. Let me show you now.
Like, build those bricks now.
That's right.
Yeah, it's crazy because I actually was a tour guide at Universal Studios where they did the Red Sea split, and we still to this day talk about it.
Wow.
Like, this is where 10 Commandments, the Red Sea split, and they use that same location for King Kong, the new one.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So it was really great that you brought that up.
I got to go back.
Right, you got to go back. Take that tour.
I've been missing some things. I'm going back to take the Universal tour, man.
Yeah.
Take me back to my childhood.
Right. And so, did you have any nicknames growing up?
My nickname was Pete.
Was Pete?
Or Petey.
Petey, okay.
And it's a family nickname. It's funny. I have relatives in Philadelphia. My mother's mother was originally from Philadelphia. And so we still have relatives back there. And every time I know when I'm home and I know when I'm in Philadelphia, I go, hey, Pete. That's just how they say, hey, Pete, Pete. Oh, Pete's here.
Right.
I'm like, I'm home now, no Petri. Pete.
No, Pete. My brother's name is Peter. We call my dad always call him Petey Wheatstraw.
Oh, wow.
That's going back, right?
Yeah. I had so many nicknames. Like, there was a wino on our block named Fox.
Oh,
okay,
no.
Fox the wino, and it used to make me cry because he used to go, "Hey, PP, hey, PP."
My God.
And I go, mom told him stop. That's just Fox the wino. Don't worry about it.
Hey, PP, that's too much. So in school, did you feel the acting buzz? Like, did you do performance in theater or anything like that? Classes?
Okay, so I always had a gift for impersonation.
Yes.
And I also used to listen to these old comedy albums. An album for you folks out there that don't know is an LP.
LP.
It's vinyl, you know, and you put a needle on it. You know, there's like kids.
Now it's used for decoration.
Right,
Shatter it.
Kids will be listening and going, I have no idea what he's talking about. You know,
Right.
So I in school, I had teachers who, first of all, major props to the New York City public school system. Okay, I was raised in it, I was educated in it, and I think I got a damn good education out of it. But we had these teachers, and one teacher in particular, Miss Blackman, my 5th grade teacher. You know, we had these end of the year parties, right? You know, and you come and you bring your little cupcakes and all that kind of stuff, and you know, and I was always allowed to do like 10 to 15 minutes of stand-up.
Nice.
You know, and so I would tell the clean jokes I knew. You know, bad sign when you come in there with Red Fox, you know, Richard Pryor, you know, let me tell you, mother, you know. And so I was allowed to do that, and I was also allowed to do my impersonations. And one of the impersonations, one of my most accurate impersonations, was of our school principal, Mr. Beckenstein.
Okay.
And I remember one day I was in the middle of doing Mr. Beckenstein, and he walked in.
Of course.
And he stood in the back, and you know, I'm going at it, you know. So boys and girls, we'd like for you to know that this is going to be a good day, you know. And at the end of it, Mr. Beckenstein comes over to me and goes, "You know, I don't really think I talk like that, but you're a very good artist."
Oh my!
It's like, okay.
First off, listening to that voice all day gotta be
I know. Thank God he was the principal,
Right.
not your science teacher.
Yeah,
You know?
oh my
You're going to
God.
sleep during the second of the frog. You know,
It's done.
Mr. Beckenstein, please don't talk no more. The frog is alive.
Wow. Okay. Well, so you mentioned a little bit growing up. You know, some of the shows and stuff you watched. Was there anything in particular that like you just had to watch every time it came on?
Flip Wilson, the Flip Wilson show.
Wow.
Oh my God! And America agreed. But this is amazing that this black man was during the 60s and early 70s, that his show was like #1 on NBC. Just a half-hour variety show, but he had everybody on there. And then Flip was the funniest man. Like, you know, I'm sorry, but Cosby, Flip Wilson, you know, well, Red Fox, Richard Pryor, but Cosby and Flip Wilson, you got to see all the time. You know, Cosby and I Spy, and then subsequently in his own variety show.
Yeah.
Flip Wilson was just hilarious, and I couldn't wait. I couldn't wait for Geraldine to come on. I was disappointed on any week that he didn't bring Geraldine out. Oh, he was so funny. Let me tell you something wrong, honey. Whoa! One time for the killer.
Love it, yeah.
So you know, and like I said, you know, being impressionable and being a person who was capable of impersonating most of the people I saw, you know, that was it for me, man. But that was when the entertainment bug like hit me, man. You know, that and singing.
And sing, I hear you write. You write as well, poetry, music.
I do, right?
Yeah.
I write poetry. I write music.
Nice.
You know, I have I'm blessed. I have a song that I did about 7 years ago with my son.
Okay.
And he was and is an inspiring rapper. Nice. You know, and I have a friend who he's a pianist, and he asked me. He came to me one day and he said, "You know, I heard you kidding around the other day. We were in the studio doing something else, and he said, I heard you singing, man." He said, "I have a piece of music." He said, "But I can't figure out what I'm supposed to do with it." He said, "I was wondering if you would like write a poem to it or something like that." So I was like, "Yeah," and he gave it to me. And automatically, I don't know if most writers do it this way, but you hear a hook.
Yeah.
Something in that music says this is what it's supposed to be.
Right.
And you create a hook, and then you kind of fill it in, And I just started riffing to it, and he's like, "Man, take it home with you," and probably like half an hour later, I had most of the words done.
Wow,
and,
nice.
And I went back to him, and Jimmy, his name is Jimmy Malone, and he's blind. But he is I don't know how I'm blessed to know all these gifted blind pianists. I'm like, wait a minute, I can see and I can't play the piano, But Jimmy is a fantastic artist, and I took it back to him, and he was so taken with it. He's like, man, let's go and record it.
Wow.
And I was like, fine. And he said, well, do you hear any background vocals in it? I said, I do. I said, much like Marvin Gaye, I want to do my own background vocals. You know? I said, I've always wanted to try that. And so we did it, and I did all the vocals on it. And there was one part that I felt needed a short rap, And I guess there was 16 bars open there, and I asked my son. What I did was I kind of tricked him into doing it. We were in the car, and I just played the music,
Okay.
And he's sitting there, and his head is bopping, and he's grooving to it. He goes, "Who's that?" And I go, "Oh, that's my friend Jimmy." He goes, "Man, that's fat." I said, "Wow." I said, "Do you think you could write something to that?" He's like, Yeah. I said, something dealing with, and I gave him the theme, which was fundamentally the song is called "It's a New Day," and in this song I talk about how we have to respect one another and stop calling each other the N-word.
Yeah.
And I can't believe I just said the N-word, but and so that was the theme of the song, and so my son wrote the rap without having heard the rest of the song.
Wow. Okay.
And we went into the studio, man, and I did the vocals, and my son, I just watched the look on his face, his jaw dropped. And he's like, I know, I knew Dad could sing, but I didn't know, and then he put it in, man, and we brought it all together. So it's out there. It's on YouTube.
Okay, all right. And what's the name of it?
It's a New Day.
It's a New Day.
Yeah,
on YouTube.
Y'all give it a listen.
Yeah,
and tell
for
me
sure.
What you
Give
think,
it a listen, the thumbs up, and support my brother here.
That's right. And if you don't like it, don't say anything, okay? Because
Just leave a comment.
I'm very sensitive. I can be very hostile when you come up to me and go, "Hey man, your song sucked, but I love you on Judge Judy."
Right. Speaking of the N-word, like you didn't you write in a short film, correct? And you starred in the short film.
Oh, yeah. It was actually I think that's called the N-word. I didn't write it.
You didn't write it.
But,
it was just
but I was in it, and
Okay.
a friend of mine up in Northern California, up in Sacramento, asked me, "Hey man, I got this role, man, and I wrote for you and stuff." And I was like, "Okay, man, I'm down."
Nice.
I'm still in law enforcement, but with a futuristic bend.
Right.
Right. I think that might be available on YouTube. Everything is available on YouTube. Okay. All right. Anything we discuss here.
You have a very interesting story. You start in law, and you are very successful in the entertainment industry. Can you tell us about that transition? And then you have a very interesting story of how you got on Judge Judy. So I definitely want to hear that.
Well, yeah. So in 1985, I became a court officer, first in Brooklyn Family Court, and then I got transferred to Manhattan Family Court, where amongst the judges that I worked with was one Judge Judy Scheinler. And I spent 4 years in Manhattan Family Court. In 1990, I moved out to California to give my kids a better shot. In Brooklyn at that time, there was a lot of violence going on, stuff like that. And so my ex-wife was from San Francisco and wanted to try and raise the kids out there. So we moved out to the San Francisco Bay Area. I worked in law enforcement for 3 years out there, and then I got an opportunity to work as a campus supervisor at a high school.
Okay.
And I didn't quite know what that meant, but I knew I always, some kind of way, kids always work their way into my life. They, I worked daycare. I ran a community center in the Bedford-Stuyvesant section of Brooklyn. So some kind of way, and I always enjoyed working with kids, and they always seemed to enjoy me. Anyway, I'm working there, and one day I take my break, and I happen to be reading the newspaper, and I read the gossip column by Liz Smith, which usually talked about Broadway and different things that were going on in the New York entertainment scene. And I get to the end of this particular column, and I see that there is this woman, Judge Judy Shineland, who's written a book, Don't Pee on My Leg and Tell Me It's Raining, shameless plug. And you can find it on YouTube. And that they were developing a TV show for her. And I said, wow, I was so excited. I was like, I know Judge Shineland.
Right.
So I wrote her a letter, and I faxed it to her, And about 3 weeks later, she called me at my job and said, I appreciate the letter because, it was just like a congratulatory letter. And she said, I know you were kidding at the end of your letter, which I said, if you ever need a bailiff, I still look good in uniform, right? And she said, you were kidding, but we do need a bailiff. And you're out there in California already, and they're planning on doing the show in California.
That's awesome.
And she said, as I remember, you kind of crazy. I said, well, I'm still kind of crazy. And she said, well, if you're crazy enough to try this with me, I will recommend you for the job.
Wow.
And that was sight unseen. She didn't know. I could have been 500 pounds.
Yeah.
But fortunately, I wasn't. And I had one of the kids on the campus. I'll never forget. I had this young lady on the campus. She was taking pictures for the yearbook. And I said, hey, if I get dressed tomorrow, wear a nice shirt and some jeans or something like that, can you take a couple of pictures of me to send to these people in Southern California? And she did it. I sent the pictures, and 6 months later, they flew me down there, interviewed me, and told me if I wanted it, I had the job. I was like, sure. And, took a leave of absence, of course.
Yeah.
My mama ain't raised no food.
Right.
Yeah, right.
It's 1 foot.
That's right. No, I'm sorry. There is no job. We had to leave your role on the cutting room floor. I hope you didn't quit your job.
Right.
Not me, buddy.
Wow. That's an incredible story, though. It just shows you anything can happen.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Anything, and what's meant for you is meant for you. Did you think that it would go 23 years on? Like, what did you expect when you signed up?
Anybody that tells you that they think that their show is going to go 20 years is lying to you. Okay, it's like, look, if I get 2 good years, I'm saving up all my money, And so no, there was no way. I mean, I knew that the show would be popular.
Yeah.
And the reason I knew is because I knew Judge Judy Shineland. And she was a pistol in the actual courtroom back in Manhattan Family Court, and she just transferred it and brought her natural talent to bear in Hollywood, and so, we passed year 5. I'm like, oh, yeah, good, okay. What do you do for a living? I'm an actor. At least that's what it says on my W-2 form, And year 10 passes, and I'm like, oh, okay, I think we're going to be here for a minute.
Yeah.
And year 15, I'm like, okay, the guy's playing a joke here. Year 20, and so, next thing I know, we're past the 20-year mark, and I've been a TV bailiff longer than I was ever a regular bailiff. So.
Hey, we'll take it, right?
That's
you
right.
Look good,
that's right. Hey, listen, who makes more money, the president or the person who acts like the president?
Exactly.
I'd rather be the guy who acts like the president. Cut. I'm going home. I'm not the president. Thank you.
Job is done for the day.
That's right.
Wow. So it's pretty much like the camaraderie between you and Judy on set is pretty much the same as offset, right? How you were before.
Yeah. You know, we are exactly who we are.
That's awesome.
You know,
yeah.
and so you know the cutting up and you know the kind of acknowledgement that we have of where we come from, you know, because she Brooklyn gal, you know, as she always says, I'm a Brooklyn gal. I go, yeah, well, I'm a Brooklyn guy. It seems like a match made in heaven to me, you know.
Your looks and your expressions are key on the show. They're so hilarious. Is it something that you brought naturally to the show, or was it something they were like, okay, give us some more of blah, blah, blah?
You know what? They never asked me to do anything. In fact, the first time I was designated sort of like an under 5 player, you know, like, you know, I was just supposed to be like sort of background, you know, and I remember the first show that I said something, you know, she looked at me and the person was trying to deflect and say it was the other person's fault. And so she looked at me and she went, yeah, SODDI. So I just looked back at her. I said, yeah, some other dude done it. And the audience cracked up. And so after we finished taping that episode, the director came to me and said, did you guys practice that? And I go, no. If you're from New York, you know what SODDI is, you know? And so he said, do you plan to talk to her all the time? I go, if she says something to me, I'll say something to her. He says, okay. They go and they change the designation. All right, he's now a principal player. You know? We're going to have to actually pay him some money, you know?
Let's move him up.
No more kibbles and bits, you know? Another bag of potato chips for the guy over in the corner, you know? So that changed the dynamic.
Yeah, for sure.
And from then on, you know, whenever, you know, all of my reactions pretty much are natural, you know, especially the faces that people are looking at, you know, I hear it all the time.
Making memes out of it.
Oh, boy, you know, it's like, you know, people sitting at home going, look at Byrd, watch Bird's face, baby. You know, I've had people come over and go, man, you the reason I watched the show, man, because while she's going off, man, you just calm and cool. And then we look at your face, or when you go over and get the paperwork and you look at them, it's like, oh, look, Bird shaking his head. No, they're going to lose, you know.
Right. Yeah, so, both your relationships is different from a lot of other courtroom dramas, relationships between the bailiff. And you are the longest TV bailiff in history.
You know,
on the same show.
Do me a favor, crazy? When you get a chance, you know, call Guinness World Book of Records. Okay?
Right, let's put this guy up.
They gave her one, and I'm like, I've been standing here too. I listen to every case she listened to.
Come on, let's give one for the brother.
But that's true, man.
That's awesome. You know, then you won an Emmy. #1 daytime show, TV show, on CBS, and Emmy. How was that?
Twice.
Feeling? Yeah, twice. How was that feeling for you?
Well, here's the thing. I actually got my Emmy from the judge. Yeah. You know, and so it was cute. You know? I was like, oh, wow, that's nice, you know. So what did I do? I rode around with it in the back of my car all the time. And when I would go, like, I have a friend, her name is Stella, and she's an older woman. And when she comes to Sacramento, when she would come to Sacramento, she would get together with all her friends that she knew on the Air Force Base up there. And so she would invite me up. And so I'd go up there and I'd have lunch with these little ladies, you know, old ladies, and they'd ask their questions and I'd field their questions and stuff. And so one day I go up to have lunch with them and I go, have you ladies ever taken a picture with an Emmy? And they're like, no. Wait here. And I go in the back of my car and I come back with the Emmy and I'm like, here you go. That's awesome. Gather around, you know. So it's like, you know.
That's awesome.
Not the dog, the Emmy, you know, the Academy, but, you know, it's a very nice piece of plastic, statue, metal, whatever it's made of.
Yeah, whatever it's made of,
whatever it's made of, pewter.
So, what is it like diving into different characters? Because you worked with Chris Rock, you know, and Everybody Hates Chris, and I'm sure that had to be an amazing experience working with that comedian.
It is, you know. well, the funny thing was, my scene was with Debbie Allen, right? And I had always been a Debbie Allen fan, you know. And so we had to climb up like the outside of this facade of this building. We had to climb up the fire escape. And the scene was that, hey, everybody knows what happened. Everybody knows what happened to the kid who went in his mother's purse and took her money, So and then it switches, of course, and you see me standing there holding this kid upside down, and Debbie Allen is the mother. And so she goes, didn't tell me if you took my money. No, I didn't take it. I said, if you tell me the truth, I'll let you go. And so the kid goes, okay, I did it. And so Debbie looks at me and goes, drop his ass. And then she looks over and goes, I told you I'd let you go. Right? So it was a hilarious scene. But I remember walking up this fire escape behind Debbie, right? And Debbie's nervous walking up this fire escape. So I said, don't worry, Debbie. I have your back, right? and I have my hand in the small of her back. And Debbie says, literally, she says, listen, you could have my whole ass, just don't let me go.
Oh, they gotta love her.
But it's funny. The day I got that job, I happened to be walking on the Paramount lot over there at the New York backdrop where they shot Everybody Hates Chris, and I was showing my cousin around who was in from New York, and my cousin all that time had been going on and on about her favorite actress, Whoopi Goldberg, right? Yeah. The whole time she's with me, that whole week. And so we're walking off, and I hear some people talking behind me, and I go, don't look now, but Whoopi Goldberg is behind us. Wow. So my cousin, she's all nervous and everything. I said, now don't say anything. I'm gonna get you an autograph. I'm gonna get you a picture with her. Just be cool. And so I go, Miss Goldberg, and Whoopi turns around, looks at me, and starts walking back towards me. And so I said, look, I don't know who she thinks I am, but get your camera ready. We gonna get this. And I said, this is my cousin Sherry, and I'd like to introduce myself. She said, don't insult me like that. I know who you are. She said, and I know who your boss is. She said, how is Miss Judy Byrd? I said, oh, she knows me. Okay. And she's like, hey, wait right here. I got to go and change, but wait right here. Don't go anywhere. I said, all right, y'all heard Whoop, right? Whoop said, don't go nowhere. I'm going to be right here, Whoop. Whoop, 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 whoop. But wow. it's amazing when things like that happen, man. And to have a chance sometime to meet people that I've only impersonated, or I've seen them on TV, and that's always exciting for me, man. I'm still like the biggest fan.
That's good.
And it's always amazing when they're like, Byrd, do me a favor, man. Make a recording for my mama. My mama like you, All right, Mr. T.
Like one quick.
One quick. Yeah, my mother won. She like it. She like it, boy.
So what's something that you would tell like an aspiring actor that's coming into LA trying to get their feet in the door? What's something that you would like to share with them?
Oh God, all the cliches. What is it? Success is when preparation and opportunity meet. Prepare 9 times as much as you deliver. Be ready. That's one of the things that I always tell young folks. I go, be ready to deliver what it is you have on a moment's notice. So if you say you're a singer, and I go, sing something, sing anything. I'm not going to be impressed with your choice of song necessarily. I'm going to be impressed, hopefully, with your vocal ability. But you have to show it, and you have to be ready at all times. Like they say, you got to stay ready so you don't have to get ready.
That's true.
And also. Be kind to the people that you meet on the way to your success. Applaud their success, because yours is coming. And you want people to applaud your success the same way you did theirs.
That's good. Good tip. And so how do you prepare a role? Like, give me a couple things that you do to prepare for a role offset and then onset.
Got it. For a role offset, I just remember what Spencer Tracy said. Spencer Tracy said, "Just learn your lines, damn it, and deliver them." Just look at the other guy and stand and deliver. And so my thing is, I keep going over it, and whenever I have a role that's offered to me, I want to learn about that character, what's surrounding, what, if anything, no matter how minuscule the role may be, I want to know what's the character's motivation and what's the character's history. And if not, I make one up, because that helps me get into who that character is. Right. The other thing is just being prepared and learning the lines, and running them over and over and over again. And I could be OCD about that, man. Like I'm gonna read the line into my phone, and then I'm gonna play it back, just the other person's line, and then I answer it within that time, and once I have that down, it's like, all right, I'm ready to go in and
ready to go ahead and book.
And that's it. That's right. Always be booking. ABB.
Right. Well, now we're going to head into a little fun segment of the episode. Okay. But I wanted to take a time and say thank you all for, if you're watching this live, thank you for streaming in, and thank you to Black Hollywood Live and AfterBuzz TV for allowing us to be here. And it's great to have you, Byrd. Thank you for coming again. So I want to hear some impressions, though. I mean, there's two ones I would definitely want to hear. So I hear you could do a wonderful Trump impression.
Let me tell you something now, okay? Everybody knows that I do things, and I do them bigly. I'm a big person, and I do them bigly. I'm 72 years old. Of course, the 7 is silent.
That was good. I like that.
You like that?
Yeah.
You like that? Okay. And my other one, now he's gone from here.
Gone.
But I'm gonna tell you right now, he's back. He's back. And let me tell you something. Okay. I don't like kids. I don't like kids. Something wrong with kids. Something wrong. You gotta pray for me, because I got a bad attitude. Next time I see him, there's gonna be some furniture moving. Believe that, cause I ain't scared of you, mother.
Yes, love that one. I actually wish you could cuss and all that, cause we all know how much Bernie.
Stop short, right?
Right. Yeah. Thank you for that. So we actually had a couple questions online from people wanting to ask you. One of the questions was, have you ever ran into someone that was on the show, and if you did, did they recognize you, and how was the reaction?
Okay, so the best one was, let's say we taped on a Thursday, right? And it was this gentleman who it was his case against his daughter, and against his daughter's mother, and the daughter's mother wanted him to pay for her car even though her grades weren't that good and everything like that. Mm-hmm. And I sympathized with this guy. Anyway, after the show was over, after they walked to the back, I just kind of patted him on the back. I said, "Hey, man, I'm a father. I get it, And 2 days later, I'm in Northern California. I was living in a place called Elk Grove, which is a suburb of Sacramento. Mm-hmm. I walk into Chili's, right? And I'm going into Chili's just to go in the to-go section. Mm-hmm. And I just wanted to buy something, and take it home. Mm-hmm. And this guy walks up to me, and I look and I go, "Hi, you look familiar." It's the guy from the show 2 days before. Wow. And he said, "I just want to thank you." He said, "Because, I was upset originally at the judge's decision." He said, "But, just a little pat on the back, man, And he said, you got time for a beer?" I was like, "Sure."
Wow.
As long as you ain't trying to kill me, what I'm saying? Because you did lose, right? So, a lot of times I've actually run into people who were on the show, or they come up to me and they remind me they were on the show, And there's a couple of near famous people who were on the show, and I've seen them at like Emmy Awards or something like that, and they go, you know, I was on your show. And they're like, yeah, 23 years.
Yeah,
work.
right.
I'm not really remembering.
23 is a lot of people.
Right. I'm lucky if I can remember the shows at the end of the day. You know?
And this one was actually a fun question. It said, do you have any events where you and other judges or other bailiffs on different shows get together?
It's funny. Actually, the pat answer to that is no.
Okay.
I've had the good fortune of sitting with Judge Kevin Ross and Judge Mathis.
Oh, okay.
We were trying to idealize how to reach out to young black men in particular, and give them some hope and try to help mentor them. And both Kevin Ross and Judge Mathis and myself are involved with organizations that are helping to mentor young black men. So in that regard, I've run into them at daytime Emmys, at different parties and stuff. The bailiffs, however, most of them can't afford to go anywhere. It's a shame. They're working stiffs, man. They are working stiffs. But I've reached out to just about every bailiff on every court show, just to call them and say, hey, man, you're doing good work. I watch you. Hang in there, and any advice that I can give them from an actor's perspective, being on the #1 court show, I try to reach out to them and help them out. But I would love to. There's one, I'll tell you now. He used to be on a show called Texas Justice. His name is William, and he lives in Houston. Okay, I've never met him face to face. But one day, when I was driving from Nashville, Tennessee to L.A. to help my friend bring his daughter's car from Nashville to L.A., we stopped in Memphis at the Stax Records Museum. Wow. And this man said, you look familiar. You look like that guy on Judge Judy. I said, well, I am that guy on Judge Judy. And I said, I said, where are you from? He said, I'm from Houston. I said, oh, wow. I said, I have a friend that's from Houston. I said, I've never met him. His name is William. He used to be on Texas Justice. The guy says, I work with him.
Wow.
He works the midnight to 7 in the morning shift, and I work the shift just before him.
Wow.
And I went, wow. So we took a picture. And I had William's phone number in my phone, and we sent it to him. And William was like, "What are you doing with her?" Wow. You never know where I am, man. Know. I'm always watching.
That's
you
crazy.
know?
That's awesome. And so you mentioned that you also do a lot of. You do a lot of things, but also giving back. The OK program, Teen Center USA, and so you serve as board members on those committees, right?
Yeah. I've since stopped doing. Teen Center USA. I'm still in touch with them, though, man. They still do fantastic work with the youth in up in Elk Grove, California, again, suburb of Sacramento. But I continue to work. I think this is 13 years now. I've been the national chairperson for the OK program. OK stands for Our Kids. And it is a black male mentoring program that was started, oh my God, it's 29 years old this year. And it was started by a deputy sheriff by the name of Donald Norcross. He just saw our boys going into the criminal justice system, but, coming out, just torn up by it, And he kept saying to his wife, somebody's got to do something. Somebody's got to save our boys. And his wife looked at him and said, well, maybe that's supposed to be you. And so Donald took it upon himself to start involving himself in their lives, meeting with them on Saturdays, having what he calls kick it sessions, which is, they get a chance to talk about the issues facing young black men nowadays. Rewarding them at the end of the year by taking them on trips, camping and Disneyland and different things like that, but those rewards would come. The price was that they had to have perfect attendance during the school year and had to have at least a 2.5 grade point average. I can't begin to tell you how many thousands of boys the program has helped.
Nice.
It's in, I believe, 10 different cities in 9 different states. And it's just a fantastic program, man.
That's awesome.
You know,
That's dope. I like that. Helping us young folk, right?
Oh yeah. Well, listen, that's the future, man.
Right, it is.
You know what I'm saying?
It is.
You know, I want to make sure that they're not running me over. That you know, while they pushing me around in my wheelchair. You know?
Right. Well, I have time for 2 more questions. I want to ask you. What profession other than your own right now would you like to participate in?
Oh, wow. School teacher.
Okay.
In fact, I've put in my paperwork to become a substitute teacher here in LA.
Wow, okay.
Yeah.
That'd be great.
We tape 52 days a year, so I actually have a lot of time on my hand, and I need to be kept off the streets during the day. So I know that there's a need for male teachers and black male teachers in particular. And so I'm going to toss my hat in the ring, so to speak, and make sure that I put my money where my mouth is.
Awesome.
You know?
Okay, and then last question. If heaven exists, what would you like to hear God say to you?
You got that 5 I loaned you? No. With my money. I said with my money. No. You know what? I have a feeling that God is going to say, I wanted to tell you that you messed up a couple of times, but don't worry because all is forgiven because I'm the Lord.
I always say the same thing to me.
That's right. Except without the Cosby voice, right?
Yeah, that might be a little scary. I don't know. Well, I'd like to thank you so much for coming in the Actor
pleasure.
Studio and just sharing a little bit of yourself beyond Judge Judy. And I'm sure everyone had a great time. I know I did. Hope you had a great time coming in.
That's going to be the name of my new show, Beyond
Judge Judy, right?
You know. Hey, listen, you guys, go on YouTube and look up Bonding with Byrd.
Bonding with Byrd.
Yeah, it's a show that I've been trying to get going with my fiance, soon to be my wife.
Nice. All right, cool. And then also, where else can they find you on social media?
Byrd the Bailiff on Twitter and Instagram and something else. Who? Oh, and on Facebook.
I know there's
my
a
man
lot.
is there going, Facebook.
There's a lot to keep track of. I know.
I'm old. You know.
You got Snapchat.
You can find me on MySpace.
Well, it's a pleasure. Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for watching. It's your boy, Danny Royce. We'll see you next week. Same place, same time, inside the Black Actor Studio. Have a good one. That was great.
On behalf of our BHL staff, we would like to thank you for tuning in to Black Hollywood Live, the world's first digital broadcast network devoted entirely to urban entertainment and pop culture. Check out our Black Hollywood Live YouTube page for even more great programming and amazing content. And be sure to subscribe and like our channel when you do. I'm your BHL host, Nakia Monet, and you can find me on all social media at Kiki Boom Boom or at Black Hollywood Live. Black Hollywood Live, Hollywood redefined.
Here are those of the host only and do not necessarily reflect the views of BHL or its owners or principals.